dominated so far from start to finish, but there are no guarantees as we find ourselves in drop week season here with your iRacing Grand Prix series. We head to a legendary circuit, one which has seen title decider after title decider, but today it is all about picking up important points now rather than later. Welcome to the Suzuka International Racing Course. Welcome to Mie Prefecture. Welcome to arguably one of the greatest circuits that has ever existed in the world of motorsport. Welcome to SimSpeed TV. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Cameron Dance here for action brought to you today. Qualifying is currently just about started. You've got 8 minutes or 2 laps. Put yourself on the board. It's 35 laps of racing action today, and the key will be for points be about car number 1 and Matt Wood.
Yeah, it certainly will be because of the fact of what's been a reasonably up and down season for him, and then to finally get some reasonable results in the recent times, he really is going to need a lot of points. But certainly this championship's been quite a fascinating one. It's been mostly dominated by the likes of Ugolotti and co that we've seen in the past few rounds, but from this point onward, it's anyone's guess as to what's going to happen from here.
And with everyone's guess on the board, I'm sure that everyone is going to be hoping that they find as many points as they possibly can. Worth noting who's on what tyre then when they come to qualifying laps. Swiderski's going out then on the yellow-walled medium, as is Reynaldo Augusto, as is Edu Villa, as is Imran Mughal. This is a 26-car field here today, Cam, and 22 of them right now have decided that the soft compound is the way to go at a track which pretty much tests every aspect of a car.
It does. I mean, with it being qualifying as well, you're going to want as much possible grip. But that said, this track is very, very demanding on tyres. So those on the softs are probably going to be in a little bit of a struggle come the end of their stint. So you might see a lot of early pitters, but who knows what's going to happen. And if they can look after them, then they might be okay. But we'll have to wait and see what the mediums can do.
Well, the focus will be on who can find some important points. Jorge Martinez will definitely be one of those drivers hoping that he can find a couple of points here today. Tapia Markela definitely wants to try and gain up a little bit, as does the car in fourth, with car number 4 on his name here today. That will be one Mr. and I believe this is Diogo Oliveira, who of course picked up a win 2 weeks ago when he got the result that he desperately wanted over at the circuit of Monza.
And that was a very, very weird and wonderful race, obviously, with what happened. But certainly Oliveira coming away with the win really did help his championship and would have really helped his confidence as well in terms of the series after having a few mishaps, unfortunately, along the way. But certainly a very, very good win in the end, and we'll see what he can do here today.
Yes, and maybe we could see a very strong result and some points here that I'm sure that we'll be screening along for some drivers, but others maybe aren't going to be in such a good position. The first time's then just about to go on the board. Samuli Veyranen then is going to be the one who's trying to make that progress over the line. So 1:29.7 that sets the first marker board. Martinez slightly slower than that at the moment, but we do expect them to start setting those times quicker and quicker and quicker at this stage, as Matt Wood has just found himself about 0.8 of a second faster, 0.3 of a second now, because Markela has just jumped up into second, but Matt Wood with a fly, he's the only one in the 1:28.
He put down a very, very quick time at the moment and putting himself in a very, very good position as well as far as times go. So we'll see if he can hold on to that. It's provisional for the time being, but who knows what will happen from here. No first time from Oliveira as well. So a few drivers copping off tracks in their first flying laps, but certainly Matt will be very, very happy to be on provisional pole for now.
Yes, and it's all about how those all start to play out in the long and the short of things. So those times are going to be quite crucial here. Down near the bottom, David Thomas, the Frenchman, is 19th, and he will not improve on his times. He will only go into 14th place. But we've got drivers here searching for those times. Luke Dowding is only down in 8th position in qualifying. That's not good enough for him, you would feel, with a driver of his potential out there on circuit. He is a top 5 quality driver. They'll be hoping for top 5 quality placing, but this is the sort of track which really does shift a few drivers here and there. No guarantees around this place. This is the true test of potential that I'm sure everyone looks for. Martinez just jumps up then into third place. Wood coming across the line, and for his second lap over the line, and he cannot improve on his lap time there, 29 flat only as he crosses. Liam Buckley up to 5th, beaten out by Cedric Beale. That's a small surprise.
It is a very, very small surprise there with the fact that we didn't really expect that. Michael has gone slightly quicker as well to put himself P2 and doubting up to P3 as well. So the field starting to look a little bit more representative. What can Horrell do? Goes to P8 as well. So starting to see some really, really quick times. Oliveira goes to P3 as well. So everybody really starting to lay the gauntlet down.
Yep, and the gauntlet very much being thrown. You've also got Alex Gillen in this field as well, number 22. Very close friend, of course, of Matt Gallagher and the crew over at WTF1 as he looks to try and find time. So still a few drivers who haven't set times. Jacob Swiderski, Tamas Shane, Ocean Richards, Kent Nielsen, Imran Magal, and John Pat Kelly yet to put times on the board. They do not have the ability to finish the times that they start with here today out there on track. It is 8 minutes, and it's a hard cut-off time before they go to the 2 minutes gridding procedure and the 35 laps worth of racing action. 31.9 then from Swiderski, jumps up to 21st position. Shane moves up then into 15th overall. John Pat Kelly finds a good time. He jumps then into the 18th position, has one more lap to go and set. Kent Nielsen, oh, that's a really good time from him actually there, 1:29.9. That's good enough for 12th place.
Actually, not too bad of a lap there from Nielsen at all to put himself in about just outside the top 10, and it's only 2/10 that he would have needed as well to be inside that top 10, so very, very close in that mid-pack to midfield sort of area, but certainly we're really reasonably happy with that.
Certainly is, and I believe everybody now out on track, with the exception of Kent Nielsen, has completed their laps. Maybe John Pat Kelly as well can find improvements. So those two searching here as we look at the TQ engineering car here, going into that very difficult hairpin corner, which of course can sometimes be christened as the Kamui Kobayashi corner for how well he made moves in the Sauber up to his third place finish way back in the day. But John Pat Kelly making his way through 200 right now into Spoon here, this very big left-hand bend. Always trying to get yourself nice and narrow through the second half to put the power down early as you descend and then rise up over the figure 8 part of the circuit. You go over a bridge and then have the big left of 130R. This left-hander, all about commitment, full flat out at 310 kilometers an hour before jamming on the brakes into that Casio triangle. Once again, right, left, and the right on power down the hill, trying to find that time. And John Pat Kelly crosses the start-finish line with a 130.4, moves up then into 18th position. Kent Nielsen will follow in and remains with a 129.9, no improvement there. So confirmation then of the grid is going to be up on your screen right now for you because everyone is over the line and complete. Matt Wood has pole position on a 128.972. He is 2/10 clear of Tapio Markala in second position, with Diogo Oliveira lining up in third. Luke Dowding is in fourth position with Jorge Martinez in fifth and Samuli Väyrynen in sixth position. Following that is Cedric Beale and Liam Buckley. They are seventh and eighth place, with Ben Horrell starting in ninth, Klaus Siemertz rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Claver Foley and Kent Nielsen on row 6, just outside the top 10. Row 7 is going to be Bartosik and Griffion Webb. We'll round out the top 15 with Nathaniel Porter in 16th on the following row. Jane and John Pat Kelly before Renato Augusto and Alex Gillen rounding out the top 20.
And then onwards towards that final page here, 6 more drivers. Jan Tinsky in 21st, David Tomas in 22nd, and then you got Jacob Swiderski, Edu Villa, Imran Legal, and then Ocean Richards not setting a representative lap time. He starts from the back today in 26th place. This is a tough run towards turn number 1, and of course it's the clean side of the road for those with the odd numbered grid positions, I should say, here with Matt Wood in control. So Markala has to work hard here if he wants to try and pull himself forward, get a good start and make progress. Starts have been a little bit of a problem for Markala over the last couple of races, but the question will be about points and how much can you gain from them. We've seen drivers make a few mistakes here and there over the course of the season, but now it's about consolidating and picking up as much as the strength of field allows you to get right now. You've got Martinez there in 5th position. He is someone who can definitely cause a little bit of a stir here today. Oliveira's proven he's got race-winning pace. So too has the likes of many others. Just waiting for Cedric Beale. He'll be the last driver then up on the grid, with the exception of one more here, as they have themselves about 10 seconds before they get themselves then through the starting procedure. Let's get ourselves ready. Everyone is on the grid. Lights on here at Suzuka. 35 laps worth of racing action, and we get underway right now as the green flag drops it slow from Matt Wood. Look at Markler get a great drive here. He's going to be side by side in towards turn number 1. Slow start as well from Luke Downing off the second row. Matt Wood screaming around the outside, takes the race lead away from Markler. Oliveira under pressure as well. Look at that then as he comes through. That's all game. Martinez there already into 4th position. Beale now starting to attack as they now run through left and right to the exits.
Yeah, certainly a very, very good start from Matt Wood, and a very good start for Beale as well, to end up now on the back of Lucas Dowding, and someone's off by the looks of it. Maybe not.
Kent Nielsen in the wall, and there's 3-4 drivers involved. Tamas Shane, Nielsen, John Pat Kelly, all in trouble then in the early stages of this one as they went through the left and right. All of that done by Kent Nielsen. So a few issues then in the early start. All nicely worked out for those at the front of the field as they battle in and around and all around. That's Bartosic there struggling a little bit on the power. Clayton Foley picks up a good drive off the exit. Nice start for those at the front of the field, and they'll be happy here, Cam, that they've got themselves away the way that they have wanted to.
Yeah, certainly. They'll be very, very happy to get away from the charging pack behind, especially those top 2 really have actually broken away from the likes of Downing and Martinez as well. So they'll start to form their own little pack and try and break away from everybody else. But certainly don't count out the likes of Martinez and Downing, who certainly do have the pace to catch up, and they're not too far back.
No, they're not too far indeed. Matt Wood then in control of things, but look at Diogo Oliveira. He's got no DRS. He gets that on lap 3, but he's using pure toe. He's in about a 1/10 of a second, heading in towards turn number 1 and 2. Out on circuit. Very underrated, that turn 1 and 2. You have to slightly lift and then hit the brakes for that second part as they go on through. Big gainers then. We haven't seen many of them in the early goings, despite the incidents then in the early start. I think the biggest gain there is Jacob Swiderski here, who is up 5 places off the start. Aside from that, everyone pretty much fell into line as they try and work out what's the best way to win over 35 laps. And of course, those soft tyres, they'll be trying to stretch as long as they possibly can.
Yeah, they certainly will, and it's going to be a real uphill battle, especially for a lot of these drivers on those soft tyres, to try and manage them as much as they can, while also still pushing very, very hard. So we'll see who's going to end up doing what for pit strategy, and we may see a few possibly have to pit early due to the fact that their tyre wear might be a little bit higher than they need it to be, but certainly we'll have to wait and see what happens. Ben Hole, though, not doing too bad of a job trying to catch up to Smoothie Veyron, and just in front of him, and he's got Liam Buckley for company just in behind him as well. So see what Horror can do, and if he's going to be able to get close enough, probably not going to be able to this time, but Buckley certainly looking like he could be a little bit of a threat here.
He certainly does, and he knows what he wants to do. He's got car 24 on his number. That means he's got a very low iRacing, and he serves to gain quite a bit if things work out in favour. Markler still under pressure then as he sees Diogo Oliveira behind him, and now will have DRS on this lap to go out there and take places. Already 1.2 seconds then for Matt Wood at the front of the field. He's broken that range early, and that is exactly what he needs to do if he wants to go out there and win this race outright. No real changes up and down the order, but every position now starts to form their own little battle pack here today, Cam. They know what they want, and they want to just get themselves into a calm position where they can attack the race one place at a time.
Yeah, certainly looks like everybody's sort of going single file and sort of starting to form their own little race, more or less, in the packs that they're in, especially. And it's sort of very typical of Suzuka to do this sort of thing, with the fact that you've got that difficulty of following cars, especially in these things. But certainly it's going to be very, very fascinating to see what happens once we get some DRS involved, and should allow a lot more overtaking.
Yeah, and that overtaking is going to be key in towards turn 1, and of course in towards the Casio Triangle. Those are the 2 places where you are most likely to see overtakes here today, because of that artificial wing that comes in the DRS. The flat opens up, it creates a little bit less drag, and you're able to hit top speed a little bit quicker. Look at how Oliveira will close in here on the run to 130i, sitting 318 Ks, turning in through that left-hand bend, looking to try and go out there and be as aggressive as possible through the triangle, get a good run off the exit, and then attack through this section. The pack behind will also want to try and gain those places if they can, but here comes the real chance then for Oliveira, tucked underneath. Look at that, which way do you want to go? Oh, he's had to lift out of that one then, try and make it happen. Markler held his line. Oliveira was not sure where to go. He looked like an eel on a boat, and he couldn't get the move done.
Yeah, he certainly couldn't quite get the move done in the end. He tried to go around the outside and nearly held it, but just washed out on the easel. Unfortunately, we'll have to sit station for another lap to get on by.
Yeah, another lap that he'll have to just sit, wait, be patient, and hope that this race will fall back into his hands. The biggest gainer now in the field is Alex Gillen, who is up 6 places right now into 14th, and he'll be looking at the likes of Adam Webb, Thomas Bartosic, and even the likes of Clayton Foley maybe as options on. But Luke Dowding now is starting to be a little bit in the midst of nowhere. He's got Beal behind with Veyranen and Horrell and Buckley, and then Seamit's on his island. It seems like everyone is just trying to make sure that they sort themselves out, and the more that Markler and Oliveira hold themselves up, the more that they're allowing that driver in 4th place, Jorge Martinez, the chance to move on through this field.
Yes, certainly. And the last thing you're going to want to be doing is holding yourself up and allowing those behind to catch up. So he's going to have to start pushing a little bit harder as Dowding if he wants to make sure that those behind don't catch up. But we'll certainly have to keep an eye on that. Still a little bit of battling going on down the field as well. The likes of David Thomas and that all very, very nose to tail at the moment in this little battle pack with the likes of Eddie Villa, Ozzy Richards, and Enstratinsky not too far up the road. And here comes the move. Is he going to be close enough to get up the inside? At least he's going to look not quite going to be making it.
That was so nearly an accident there as Tapio Markler moved to take his natural racing line. So did Oliveira, thinking he could go around the outside. No dice as they continue on their scrap in the early goings of this race. Wide goes Alex Gillen in the background. He very nearly loses the place to Ray Griffey Owen. So that's another one that's starting to just form up in this race. But now they've got to be very cautious about the way that they challenge through. Every painstaking moment that they look at will be micromanaged in terms of the way they want to make that overtake. You can see here Oliveira clearly is the faster driver. He is in every braking zone, having to check up a lot more because he doesn't have enough to make a run.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't, unfortunately, and he's really trying his best to find a way on by, but just can't quite seem to do it at the time being. We'll fill the mirrors there on the way down towards the back end of the circuit, but just, again, no real time to, well, no real ability to get up the inside. And now this has brought Jorge Martinez into this as well. So Martinez is looking very, very racy in the background and is possibly going to want to get on by. But here we go, the run down towards 130R is going to be able to, he's still not going to be able to get up the inside at 130R, but he's going to look to the inside. But Markler goes defensive on the way into the Casio Triangle. So not another move, and running deep as well was Markler. So he's going to compromise his exit on the way down to the front straight, and Oliveira should, in theory, have it, the pass it done this time. Why is it's getting very, very hectic between these two? Very, very defensive. He's going to go around the outside, and job done finally.
That had accident written all over it, and that is Diogo Oliveira up now into 2nd position, and he is desperate now to run away and try and catch Matt Wood. Why? Because he's lost 3 seconds in 6 laps. That's the issue that he has at this stage. Dowding now on the back. Beal in range, Veyranen, Horrell, Buckley all in range for a podium attempt here today at Suzuka. This is what racing's about, and that was all about how aggressive can you be compared to how aggressive you need to be.
Yeah, he certainly set the pass up very, very well, and certainly made use of the aggression, the amount of aggression that he certainly needed to use. So he's done very, very well there, and just needs to now put his head down and forward. Oh, and that's not what he wants to do.
Just like that, that's the 2nd of the Degner corners, then gets out on the AstroTurf and the gravel, can't slow it down, and hard into the tyre wall goes Alex Gillen. I think his race may just be over.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's a very, very second-hand looking McLaren there, unfortunately, and just ran wide onto the curb and that onto the exit curb and AstroTurf, and that was it, straight in the header. And at that point, you're just a passenger, unfortunately. So looking like it's very, very winded. He might be okay in that. He doesn't look like he's got a little bit of offset there. No, he does. So I think it's going to be race over, unfortunately.
Certainly does. Suspension damage is the big killer when it comes to these sorts of races. Lap 7 they go on to right now here at Suzuka, and what is crucial right now is how quickly can the likes of Martinez and Dowding and Veal and Veyron and co all make progress past Tapio Martinez. It looks like he is very much going to be the staunch defender in this sort of race. You've got other battles that are going out there on circuit right now, and of course all of those just as important as everyone else. Everyone racing for the highest position that they possibly can. Edu Villa at the moment is holding a big train back for 19th place on backwards here. As he's got David Tomas, he's got Imran Magal, John Pat Kelly, and Sam Machene all in the line.
He definitely has a lot of cars just behind him, and it's a very, very big train as well, with the fact you've got so many different cars as well, but certainly can't count any of them out, and really is just going to be a matter of waiting and being patient, and some of them will have to use pit strategy to get on by as well, but we'll have to wait and see. John Pat Kelly, though, doing an all right job down in 22nd, trying to find a way past Imran Magal. And some good company. He's recovering after that lap 1 as well, so Shane currently trying to find his way on by these drivers including, but certainly going to have to be a little bit patient and wait for them.
Ben Horrell looks like he's all over the back of Samuli Veyrinen in the battle going on for what's his 7th place on the road. Gets a very nice, though, Casio triangle, and there's nothing that you can do if you're Ben Horrell. There's no chance of making that overtake right now. Martinez, of course, just in front of that, not close enough to get through on Tapio Markela just yet, but he's going to have to play some patience games to try and make sure that he gets himself in the right possible position. But this is still a very long race, and I'm sure all of these drivers will be looking around at each other and thinking, let's not do anything silly right now here. We're only on lap 8 at 35, and they know that pit stop window, you would feel, opens around lap 15 for the soft pitters.
I presume it will be roughly around then that's going to open, so we'll see if anybody decides to dive down really, really early and just swap to the mediums, but we'll have to wait and see what happens, because it's really going to come down to who's going to do what, and it's going to be very, very crucial to get the pit stop right and time it right as well for the likes of Martinez, Dowding, and those who are getting held up by the likes of Markela.
Yep, and it is Tapio Markela here who's really being a thorn here for Jorge Martinez. Look how much time he's lost. He's already lost a second and a half to Oliveira, who's actually slowly closing down the gap to Matt Wood at a 10th at a time, so he will get there come the end if things do stay like this. But Martinez right now, he's needing to try and find a run. He needs a good Casio triangle if he is to have any opportunities to make things happen. But you have to say, Martinez is not a driver who's a traditional overtaker. He is more of a driver who is a conservative in terms of the way that he drives. He is someone who loves to keep tyre life on the vehicle and make sure his strategy does all the talking. You can see he's behind by about 4 car lengths right now. Never going to be close enough here to make that move in towards turn 1.
Yes, certainly wasn't quite going to be close enough to get the move done at this time around at least, but it's going to still be a little bit of a waiting game. He's going to need to start pushing as Martinez wants to find a way on by and get ahead and not lose too much more time as well. But Shane has finally made his way past John Pat Kelly and Edu Villa as well during this lap, so we have a free kick off DRS as well. As a result, he's now got Imran Magal on his hit list next, and he's not too far behind him, and David Thomas not too far up the road as well, so making a nice little recovery is Shane Virtual Racing School replay of what's happened. Maybe not.
No, maybe not indeed. So that one stays as is for the time being, but at least at this stage, everyone just trying to settle down in and make sure that their race is going on. Here is the Virtual Racing School replay, they're new for this year. This is what we are looking at right now. I believe this is going to be the incident then on the opening lap. That is Ken Nielsen fighting himself around, and that also caused the retirement in that one there of Reynaldo Augusto.
Yeah, it certainly did. Just coming through the Esther section in contact with the Claybits Foley as well, unfortunately, and trying to get off the grass and managed to rejoin nicely, and then obviously, unfortunately, was also on the point of where everybody was coming through the S's and everybody had to check up, and unfortunately having it nowhere to go, so unfortunately Nielsen and Oslo having not too good starts, and unfortunately being a retirement out of that one as well.
Yeah, retirements then central. Here comes Adam Webb down the inside of Thomas Bartosic then. That's a move for 12th position on the road, and a very key one as well at that. Adam Webb on the soft compound tyre, looking to be aggressive then here in the early goings. We're on lap 10 here of 35, and he gets the move done. He moves up to 12th in his sights next with Raymond Foley and Klaus Siemert out there on track. So now you start thinking about positioning here. Where are you going to be gaining your time the most in this sort of race? Worth noting right now that fastest lap of the day so far belongs to Diogo Oliveira, 1:31.7.
Yeah, certainly a very, very quick lap time from Oliveira, and that was after he'd gotten by the pack that he was stuck in as well. So he's managed to find his pace finally, but Liam Buckley's had some issues in these last few laps.
Yeah, he's had a spin, it looks like, and that was down at the hairpin. He was behind Ben Horrell. He locks up the rear axle as he tries to slow it down and has the biggest half spin out there. Has to hit reverse actually to stay out of the way of the likes of Bartosic and co. And now he drops way down the order, all the way to the unluckiest position of them all here, Cam, in 13th.
Yeah, so he's lost quite a bit of positions out of that. Unfortunately, he's probably going to damage his size quite a bit as well as a result, but certainly not what he will have hoped for at all. But certainly not doing too bad for himself considering he's car 24 as well, so he's still at least looking for a solid result here, but not what he would have wanted at all considering where he was. But you can see Jorge Martinez really applying the pressure to the back of Marquez. It's still a little bit of time in this last few section of corners, but certainly still trying to find a way on by.
And this is a very tough section of track, especially in open wheel Formula cars like these McLaren MP430s, Cam, because you look at this section and you try and work out, well, how am I supposed to gain time? Those are all about those mid to high speed left and right handers, those same left to right handers that gave credence to Red Bull being an amazing team in the 2010s, 2013, 2014 era. So now you start wondering here when you go through that section, I'm getting nowhere near close, and my big straights happen in the mid to the late part of the circuit where I need to use maybe the likes of the run to spoon to give myself any hope of trying to make overtakes.
Yeah, certainly, and it's a track that almost you want to put less downforce on, but you know you can't because of the fact that, especially if you're going to be in traffic, you can't afford to take any sort of wing off, and you're going to need as much as you possibly can to avoid having, trying to deal with that aero push as well. So you really, Buckley's had another spin as well at spoon.
Yep, this time goes in a little bit deep, hits that curb, and it says, see you later. I'm going to go sliding on. Buckley's back going again. He's behind Jacob Swiderski now out on track. So that's a real big hurt for him. He continues to drop on backwards then through this race. Matt Wood leads by 2.4 seconds over Diogo Oliveira, and then it's Tapio Marcola and Jorge Martinez in third and fourth positions right now. Luke Dowding as well is put himself into a bit of a battle right now. Cedric Field has quietly been chiseling away at a couple laps here, Cam. He's now in sixth place and he wants to get to fifth.
Yeah, he certainly does want to get to fifth at some point, especially with how long he's been chiseling at this little battle with Dowding and Cedric Beale, and he's been just casually sitting in behind him. He's trying to get close, but just can't quite seem to get there in the end to get done. So he's going to try his best to keep on doing this, but he's going to have to start thinking about whether he pits soon or not, because he's actually got Veyron and also Hurl not too far behind him.
Yes, and it's all about those big battles there, and with those drivers behind wanting to keep themselves within a range, you'd feel like now's the time to strike while the iron is hot. Make a move quickly, get yourself track position for when you need to dive down in and make your first pit stop. We're coming towards the end of lap 12 here in this one, and I'm sure that these drivers are looking for overtakes glory here, or galore I should say, at this moment in time. Luke Dowding here is still holding position quite nicely, no takers yet down onto the lane as things stand, but there goes Luke Dowding, and that is the first taker onto the lane. It's a very early stop for a driver who last week ran himself into troubles in pit lane.
Yeah, very, very early stop is, like you said, we're only on lap 13 now, and Bartosic as well coming in, so starting to see some people get in or go very, very early on the pit stop. Very, very interesting that he actually decided to come down on the lane as well, but Yeah, very interesting considering he was in clean air. You would have thought Beale would have done it, but nevertheless, he's swapped to the mediums and is going to go home from here pretty much.
Manuel Porter's just made a move on Ray Griffio and down the inside of turn number 1, gains a place. Now look at where he has come out. He is right in the middle of traffic here. Down into Shane, who's had to back off of it there, the driver from Pennsylvania. Now he's going to get past David Thomas, the Frenchman, here if he wants to try and get himself through and making up those places. So maybe for Luke Dowding, it's a case of now he has not timed that one the best in the world, as the likes of others behind have come out and made their stops. So maybe, just maybe, it's a case of, well, how long can I stand before I'm going to be losing even more time than the decision to stay out an extra lap and get in range?
Yes, certainly. That's going to be one of those very big questions that he's going to be asking himself. How long, well, everybody else will be, how long can you stay up before you need to actually come down onto the lane? And Dowding's not really timed the pit stop very well. He's going to be getting held up by David Thomas as a result. But Ben Horrell currently battling with Samuli Varonen, and they've been going at it for quite a few laps now. And Horrell's trying to find a way on by. He's going to have DRS this time it down at the front straight. He's going to look to the inside of Aaron as he's heading to turn 1 and getting it moved done very easily.
Been a long haul there for Ben Horrell, but he does get the move sorted and he does move up in the position. Claver Toffoli and Nat Porter both decide to come down into the pits, and Luke Dowding is still stuck, mind you, behind David Thomas, who does not come down into the pit. He defends the line on the inside, and now all of a sudden goes Luke Dowding. He's done a 1:35 net with what David Thomas was trying to work out, so he finally gets that done, and that will cost him about 3 seconds on that lap compared to the drivers he's racing against, who are doing late 32s.
Yes, so that's quite the pace differential, as you can imagine, on what he's going to be losing and what everybody else is going to be gaining. So that's going to be a little bit of a worry for him.
It's going to be a big worry, but we do have the likes, say, of Adam Webb, and he's been slowly working on the time over the course of this stint. And look who he's found right now in terms of this one. 8th place on track at the moment. That is Klaus Siemertz there just in front of him, and this is going to be a very key battle between two very similar drivers.
Yeah, certainly is going to be a battle between two very similar drivers in terms of pace at the moment. They're running pretty similar lap times in favour slightly for Webb, but certainly two very familiar drivers to each other and two very similar in terms of normal pace as well. So it's going to be a very tough little battle here between these two. Varonen into the pit lane as well to get his pit stop out of the way, but see where he comes out in relation to everybody else.
Yeah, and of course those pit stops become very vital. Varonen then will be looking maybe at Luke Dowding, who's just coming through right now. The Casio triangle looking to be aggressive and gain some time. He'll come off of the jacks and get himself back up to racing speed. There goes Dowding now. And this is going to be close here, but it's just going to be Luke Dowding who picks that one up then as he goes on through by about 2 seconds. He goes on by, and the key is that Dowding managed a 33.1, trying to get himself through and trying to gain that time, that very important time that he was looking for. Luke Dowding right now has moved on to a set of the medium compound yellow-walled tyre here in this race.
He certainly is. It's going to need to look after those reasonably well to get home from here. Shouldn't be too bad in terms of drop-off, but you can see here Oliveira has actually closed that gap right up for the lead of this race. And he's going to be making it even smaller with the fact that he's running very nice lap times. So we'll see what he's going to be able to do from here. But he's got Markler for company as well, so he has to keep an eye on what's going on behind him, but keep an eye on what's going on in front of him. And decides to head down onto the lane now, so a little bit of a strategic call there for him.
Yeah, Diogo Oliveira has been falling off a cliff over the course of the last couple of laps. He's been really struggling as he did a 1:33 flat, and that is a 1:37.4 in lap then as he goes through. Of course, that does include the fact that he was diving down into the lane. So Oliveira's tyres hitting a cliff then at the end of lap 15 suggests to me that he is going to struggle late on as he tries to continue on. Another set of the soft compound tyre to go through. It's hard to think really at this stage, Cam, that we're already pretty much at the halfway stage of this race.
Yes, certainly, and Horrell's coming to the lane. He's gone to the softs as well, and looks like he's just going to get jumped by Varonen, but that said, he's going to be on the softs, so he's going to have a slight advantage in the form of overall grip, but whether he's going to be able to make those hold on for the rest of the race, it's going to be another question that we're going to have to ask ourselves later on.
That wasn't a small jump, that was a big jump, really, you could say, between those drivers. This is where the undercut starts to gain its advantage, and you decide when's the right time to make that call and come down in, make the decisions that really do give you results in this sort of race. This is the time where you start seeing those come into fruition. Edu Villa's going to lose out around the outside. Goes Claver Toffoli, lets him have the position then. Of course, Toffoli's coming a little bit earlier. He's just behind John Pat Kelly and Thomas Bartosic and co, so he's dropped out a little bit. In comes then to the pit one driver, and one very important driver. It is Markler and Martinez and Beale, which leaves Matt Wood out there all alone at the front of the pack.
Yeah, it certainly does leave him out there in his own little land of no man's land, but he's cruising on out the front. He's doing actually very, very good lap times as well. He's just been doing consistent 32s, low 32s as well over the entire stint so far. So he's got some very, very good pace in relation to everybody else. Martinez doesn't quite jump Markler off pit road, and Oliveira flying past both of them as well on the soft compounded tyres, and everybody else jumping onto the softs as well. So he's made some very, very good gains there. His Markler to actually close that gap up to Oliveira.
Cedric Beale has just managed to jump Luke Dowding in the stops there on the overcut. So all that time being held up, those 3 seconds, has cost Luke Dowding. He's on the medium compound as well. So he has been hurt in this race, and he is now behind Cedric Beale in net 6th place overall on the road as things stand. So Cedric Beale then has got the scratching just about right to get himself in that prime opportunity and position here at this moment. So still a couple of drivers who need to come down in, still need to make their stops. Matt Wood is one of them here, coming towards the end of lap 17, and he makes the call at exactly the halfway stage to make that pit stop, and he is very, very liberal with that yellow cone.
Yeah, he certainly was very, very early on the brakes and making sure that he didn't speed into the lane. Last thing you want to do while you're leading the race with the lead that he has is make a mistake like that. So certainly not going to be a bad thing being a little bit cautious there, but it's going to be very much about making sure you can get the exit right and then just cruising home from here in a very, very odd pit stall as well. But the fact that he's right at the end of pit lane, managing to get it nicely out of pit lane as well, onto the softs, and again, very, very nice gap that he's got back to everybody else.
Yeah, there is Diogo Oliveira just behind him, that gap around 3 seconds that he has at this stage. So he's looking to try and push on forward. Behind in 3rd, and Martinez in 4th position. Swiderski is yet to come down in so far and make his stop. He's in the 5th position right now in this race, and he is trying to make sure he can go as long as he can, because he is on the yellow wall medium compound tyres, started the race on the yellow wall, and he is trying to go as long as he can, if not to the end of the race, which is a possibility. Oliveira, fastest lap of the race. Kent Nielsen seemingly has run into troubles.
Yeah, so he has run into some possible problems, unfortunately. We'll have a look and see.
Shane.
Yeah, he actually has, and Shane not having a great race either. He's had a few incidents across the race, and that's just another one to the tally, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's just the case of Tamas Shane, a little bit over-rotated into the corner, leaving half the door open, can't get pace down through the second part of Spoon, and that allows Kent Nielsen then to just plough up behind him, and that's not exactly the right way to take that section of road. So troubles there brewing for Kent Nielsen. I'm sure Tamas Shane has had enough of seeing Kent Nielsen here tonight. Other battles out on the track. Imran Magal under pressure here. Claver Toffoli wants 13th.
Yes, he does want 13th at the moment, and it's looking like it's going to be very, very close battles. Toffoli up the inside of Miguel as they head down towards 130R. He's going to have this position very, very much sealed, but is Miguel going to hold around the outside? No, he's not. Decides to think better of it and just back it out. So Toffoli with another position gain there.
So he gets himself up into 13th and is looking to attack then the remaining sections of this race. In terms of the battles that we've got to keep an eye out on here at the moment, Väyrynen and Horrell are still together. Horrell is back behind Samuli Väyrynen at this stage. You've got, of course, those drivers all trying to work it out, but they will be also thinking about maybe doubting, as I've just seen David Tomas have himself a moment then coming out to spoon as well. Yeah, 45 degrees of sideways before saving it.
It certainly was a very, very big moment there. I've just seen it myself and managing to save that quite nicely, actually, with the amount of lock that he put into it. So, luckily, going to get away with that one, but certainly won't want to do that too many times.
No, that certainly will torture the rear tyres if he does go through. Now, Ben Horrell's got a really good opportunity here this lap to make this move here. Samuli Väyrynen, I'm not sure will have much to argue against here with Horrell getting aggressive here as they go into spoon. The double apex left-hander here as you look to try and attack the exit track, falls away from you as you try and put the power down. And look at the run that Ben Horrell has. They pass the other pits, the alternative pits on circuit, down the inside then at 130R, and the move very much is that Väyrynen has to lift.
He certainly did have to lift out of it, unfortunately, so he didn't quite manage to get the pass done. Certainly could have tried and made it happen, but unfortunately not going to be able to do it this time. By shooting the race down the front straight, though, so he'll be able to close that gap and lost time, but not going to be able to get a move done this time in the turn one.
No move available then just yet, but there is still a lot of time to be had then in this sort of races. Into the pits comes Imran Magal on lap 20 starting here to make his first and only pit stop then of the race today. Track conditions here is 26 degrees. It's ideal conditions here at Suzuka as they look to try and battle it out and get exactly what they need. Kent Nielsen has eyes here on David Tomas as he wants that place to fight 22nd position on the road. Not quite fortunate just yet.
Yeah, not quite fortunate just yet. He's got to wait a little bit longer and he's going to try and see what he can do, but he's going to have to wait a little bit longer, unfortunately, with the way that it's panning out.
Yeah, not quite there. Oh, actually, no, Downing inside. He'll just take that right now here, Cam. So Kent Nielsen gets it done on David Tomas, so not much you can say or do about that one. He was straight through, in and out like a whippet. He couldn't get anything there to stop the door. But now Jacob Swiderski here, remember, he hasn't come in and made a stop yet. He's got mirrors full of Cedric Beale. This is a past ball position here for 5th place.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Swiderski probably going to come down, and actually does come down this time by, so finally deciding to do his pit stop and give some clean air to Cedric Beale, who's lost a little bit of time. He's probably stuck behind Swiderski, but Downing looming in the background on those medium tyres has been putting in some very, very good laps as Downing, so starting to close that gap down a little bit to Beale, but Beale probably going to have some slight advantage with those soft tyres, but the mediums will start to come into their own, I reckon, in these next few laps.
Yep, their own is now the time that we see as Swiderski will come out in the way behind Ray Griffey Owen, and I think he'll lose out to Matt Porter as well. So he drops himself then down to 50th position in this race. A lot of work to do, but he will have here the advantage, Cam, of the freshest tyres of anybody in this field.
Yeah, he certainly will, and that's exactly what he's going to want at this stage in the race, and as we get closer to the finish as well. So as those tyres wear, the fresher they are, the better off he's going to be at this point.
Yeah, and the gap at the front of the field now is a very interesting one to keep in mind. Matt Wood only has about a couple of seconds and one lap or a couple laps fresher tyres to boot as well. We saw how Oliveira's tyres hit a cliff very, very early on in comparison to Matt Wood, who stayed incredibly consistent, but it's those early laps which are allowing Oliveira to close back in. The gap is now 2 seconds exactly, almost, as they now head towards turn number 1, and any closer, and Matt Wood's going to be in a bit of a dogfight.
Yeah, he certainly is, with how that gap's looking at the moment. Oliveira quickest that last time by, again, with just over a tenth, so looking like Oliveira's got some very, very good pace at the moment with those fresh tyres, but certainly is going to need to keep working very, very hard to catch that, well, close that gap up to Matt Wood, and he's obviously going to get on by, so it's going to turn into a real little dogfight for the lead if they keep going the way they are.
Yes, and it's that dogfight they have to be cautious of. Everyone is out there in their own bubble at the moment. Wood leads 2 seconds, it's 2 seconds, then it's 2 seconds at the moment. Perfect social distancing. Stay at least 2 seconds apart, Cam.
Yes, certainly. I know it's not quite 2 meters, but it's certainly at least 2 something. So they're doing their own little bit of a social distancing, but certainly it's becoming a little bit of a single file approach at the moment.
I mean, they're even doing it 5th to 8th because Beale's got 2 seconds on Dowding, 2 seconds on Horrell, 2 seconds on Veyranen. So that exactly the same as well. All of these drivers will be hoping that they can just consolidate place, and the big battle right now is actually for 18th, 19th and 20th position right now. Imran Magal just clear of John Pat Kelly and Adam Webb.
There's a little battle pack going on down the back end of the field, and we're trying to get his way back on by John Pat Kelly. Didn't quite manage to jump him in the stop, but John Pat Kelly didn't quite manage to jump Miguel either, but certainly they're all battling it together very, very hard, and we're trying to do his best to get away on by John Pat Kelly. It's quite a bit quicker last time by well, it's about 3/10 quicker in favour of Adam Webb, but certainly going to need to try and get on by as quickly as he possibly can if he's got that sort of pace.
Diego Oliveira sets fastest lap of the race then, 1:31.148 on lap 22 of this race. Webb now trying to get on the power and gain some places up to 18th. He'll want and then 10 seconds back to Oshin Richards, who did not take the time in qualifying but has quietly worked his way up then 9 places to 17th. Biggest gainer in the field so far this race. Webb not close enough just yet to make the move that he wants to on John Pat Kelly. And the issue he's got is that Imran Magal might just be in range where John Pat Kelly does get DRS. But for the time being, look at Adam Webb. He'll move to the inside. He'll get himself the run that he needs. And he will get the place up to 19.
Yeah, very easy move from there in the end. So he'll take that place off and then head towards Imran Magal to try and get on by and gain another place to move it into 8th position.
Yeah, he certainly will do at this stage. Keep an eye on that leading gap then. It's a 31.2 that time from Diego Oliveira, but Matt Wood, 1:31.130, just stole away the fastest lap of this race. They are trading here, Cam. Fastest laps here in this battle for the race win. And this tells you all you need to know. These two are going out there and leaving everything on the table and then some for the victory.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're certainly not leaving anything off the table, that's for sure. They're pushing very, very hard, especially Oliveira, who's putting in some ridiculous quick laps at the moment. But Matt Wood's starting to respond now with the fact that he's got Oliveira starting to catch up and close that gap down. So we'll see what's going to happen from this point on, where they've got about 10 laps to go from here on out. So if Oliveira can keep pushing very, very hard and just keep on matching while beating the times that Matt Wood is doing, then he'll certainly be on to catch that gap back up.
Well, you've also got more battles on the horizon because Adam Webb has got Imran Magal just in front, and behind that, John Pat Kelly and Kent Nielsen then getting themselves a little bit together. So here comes the move on Imran Magal. Around the outside goes Adam Webb. He's cleared before he even reaches the braking zone. That's good. John Pat Kelly, ever the gentleman driver, out of the way of Kent Nielsen. So 2 changes of position, same corner, just about 2 seconds apart.
Yeah, certainly. That gap can disappear very, very quickly as well with one slight mistake as well. So who knows what's going to happen. You'll just have to keep on charging with John Pat Kelly and try and close that gap down, but certainly won't want to make any sort of mistakes, otherwise he'll put himself in more strife and have to close that gap down even more again and put himself in a bit of a disadvantage. But certainly Nielsen trying to do his best to close the gap down to Miguel.
Yeah, so all those positions continuing to change. Gaps, though, are closing in this field. Matt Porter being reeled in by Jacob Swiderski. You've got Ben Horrell closing in then on Luke Dowding. You've got the likes of Jorge Martinez trying to close in on Tapio Markler. Every place is a battleground right now, and I'm sure every driver wants to make sure that they are positioning themselves in the best possible way to gain the places that they need to, especially noting the fact here, Cam, when they cross the line, they only have 10 laps to go here at Suzuka.
Certainly, so it's a bit of crunch time for a lot of these drivers, especially those who are in very, very heated battles at the moment and wanting to try and find some extra positions to finish this race off. So really are going to need to push as hard as you possibly can at this point for a lot of people, especially those down the order and those little battle packs that they are in, but certainly it's not over yet.
Well, I believe Adam Webb here might have just put the fastest lap of the race on the board. He's done a 1:30.922, Where have you found that time, Adam Webb, in the number 18? He is driving for Ocean Richard. He did a 33 that last time by. Adam Webb is flying.
Yeah, he absolutely is. I mean, I'm bewildered as to how he's even managed to get that lap time, considering he's been running high to mid 32s and then 31 in there in the stint. So that's unbelievable. He's actually managed to pull that out of the hat somewhere. He's done a little bit of a magic trick there, but certainly at least he's got some very, very good pace at the moment. And if he can keep doing that sort of pace, he'll be up to the likes of Straczynski and Richards in no time.
They are fighting right now, as is Swiderski and Porter, as they go into the Casio triangle and look to get through. Richards right up underneath the back diffuser there of Jan Straczynski. Takes the wide line, dinking the inside into the triangle, can't get the move sorted. As Swiderski now thinks about the inside in towards turn number 1. Holds it around the outside. We know he can battle. He fought the whole race at Montreal with John Pat Kelly, but Richards and Straczynski right now happy with the way that they're going here. Straczynski holding station just for the time being. So those drivers keep themselves the same. Also keep an eye on Samuli Väyrynen right now. He is struggling here, Cam, falling backwards into the clutches of Klaus Seaman.
Yes, certainly is. Losing a little bit of time, unfortunately, with what's been going on in these last few laps. And he's really starting to struggle for pace as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and possibly starting to have those mediums drop off a little bit too early with when he pitted as well. So he's going to need to keep just pushing on as best as he can. And with Seamit's on those softer tyres, he's certainly going to be in a lot better position as Seamit's, but at the same time, he's just got to keep on pushing, does Väyrynen, and use those mediums right at the end.
Diogo Oliveira's tyres have hit the cliff. He is now in 131.6 and 131.8 range at this stage. This is where his tyres are struggling. This is going to bring Markela and Martinez back in, who are 3 and 4.5 seconds back respectively in this race. So it's not over for second position right now at this stage. They know they've still got a lot on the table, and what they need is positions ASAP.
The Vic start getting some moves done at this stage, with the fact that Chicken Flake is closing very, very quickly with the way it's going. So if they keep going the way they are, then they'll have a very, very good scrap at the end of this race. But certainly you can't count on anyone for what's going to happen at the end of this race, maybe.
Richards down the inside of Jan Straczynski takes the place away. He is plus 10 for his race now with a 34.1 that lap. And again, another 3 seconds. Adam Webb takes off then in the background as he wants to get up to those two as soon as he possibly can. We are in the late stages now of this race as Luke Dowding has been caught by Ben Horrell as well. That position definitely not over and done with at this moment in the race. Matt Wood now still running his race, but he's now 4 seconds clear. Markela brings the gap down, second and third, to 2.3 seconds.
Yes, 31.6 last time by for Markela, 32.3 for Oliveira. So Markela really pushing hard now with all those tyres that he's got, and Oliveira really struggling now on those tyres that have dropped off massively.
They have, and that's the issue. He's hitting one of the earliest drivers, and he'll have to stay on them. Either that or make a stop, which is going to really compromise and cost him the later on that this race does go. So that's going to be in the back of the mind at this stage. Going through Markela with a bit of lap traffic. That's Tamas Shane in front that he will have to try and find a way through with sooner rather than later in this sort of race. But everybody now is just thinking about what is next at this stage. So positions, they'll be changing a plenty at this stage. Adam Webb's just about to put one here on Jan Straczynski. No issues at all.
Yes, certainly is. And Adam Webb with another position gained there with the pace that he's been running it quite nicely. So he's moved himself up into 17, and Chaney is indeed off. He was off at Spoon just in front of the likes of Markela and that, so very, very lucky not to have anything worse happen.
Yeah, it's just a case of grabbing the curb, trying to turn in. There's nothing there when you've got grip like that, so Markela able then to scamper away from that incident, but crucially, Oliveira's found second life in the tyres, maybe just a little bit more that he can gain out of it. Wood, though, clear 3.7 seconds at the moment at the front front of this pack and absolutely doing what he needs to do, which is just put up victories to try and close the gap down to one Mr. Matteo Ugolotti. As the likes of those behind still fight, Luke Dowding's going to be the key one here because he's on those medium compound tyres. How long will they last compared to that soft compound that's being run by Ben Horrell behind?
Yeah, well, there's one of the big questions. How long are they going to last before they suddenly drop off quite dramatically? So it's going to be a very, very good question that we're going to have to wait and find out to see whether they're going to drop off now or they're going to not drop off at all. But certainly those softs are really going to be quite quick now with the fact that those mediums on Dowding's car are going to be quite old and possibly nearing their point of where they're going to start to drop off.
Jacob Stradersky has finally got the move done on Matt Porter. He jumps up a position, moves himself into 14th. Then as Stratinsky falls behind Kent Nielsen, Adam Webb still can't find a way through on Ossian Richards. That's going to be another little battle that is worth keeping an eye out on. As Claver Foley is in the wall, then coming out of the hairpin at Dunlop. So gets the power down, back steps around, and he just about avoids those tyres at the expense of Liam Buckley.
Yeah, very, very close to the wall there. You managed to barely save and keep it out of there. So very, very lucky to not have it go, well, have anything worse happen to him, but certainly not what Hamilton wanted at all. Look, didn't lose too much time, only lost position in Liam Buckley, but certainly not the thing that you want to be doing this late in the race.
Absolutely not very easy to run yourself into a couple of troubles and chase down an avenue that's not the right way forward, so very easy for that to go wrong. Now Tapio Markela here has got himself an interesting situation because there is traffic battling in front of him in the position. He'll try and go round the outside of the hairpin, off of the power goes Edu Villa, lets him go, but now he's got to think about, okay, when's David Tomas going to let me go, because I need to chase down Diogo Oliveira.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be one of those things where he needs to work out where he wants to pass him, well, where he wants to pass him and when he wants to pass him. Obviously, he wants to do it as quickly as he possibly can, but at the same time, he can't afford to just send it up the inside and possibly risk having an incident, but goes to the outside of 130R. Wouldn't have said that would probably be the option that you would have wanted, but Tomas deciding to let them on by nicely and not hold them up for too long. But certainly getting on by this lap traffic is going to be very, very important, especially for those in this little battle back here.
Yeah, and now it's Jorge Martinez's turn. Try and find a way through, and that has cost in terms of time. The gap is 2 seconds exactly. Martinez was quicker through the traffic. That's key. Martinez gets through one and he'll need to get through the other one pretty quickly as well. Those battles still going on. We're into the final 5 laps then here at Suzuka in a race which has been pretty much lights out from Matt Wood from start to and finish in the way that this one has been concocted, but we've still got a few drivers trying to work out which position is going to be the best possible one for them. Still Dowding and Horrell there, nose to tail, trying to find their places, and no dice we have seen right yet in terms of those changing.
Yeah, we certainly aren't going to see those change for the time being, but I'll be certainly pushing very, very hard to make it happen though, but Dowding with a slight pace advantage that last time by compared to Horrell, but certainly they're going to need to keep pushing as hard as they can, especially if Horrell wants to gain another place and move himself into P6.
Yeah, and it's that 6th position which is worth just keeping in the back of the 9, because those are some important points that come in, which is determined by the iRacing strength of field here today. They all generate a number, as everyone does when they start with iRacing, and that number can rise and can fall. You can get yourself up to even the likes of 10,000 iRacing, and that grind will continue to go on the higher the fields do become in terms of the way that they all race. But Oliveira doing just enough then in 2nd position to hold off. He's got 4 laps and he's got himself 2 seconds because Markela can't do enough, nor can Martinez, who's normally very good late in races. In comes Jan Stratinsky late then for one more stop. He will get himself now even further a lap down, as it looks like Ben Horrell has just completely fallen off the back here of Luke Dowding. And I'm not sure whether it was a mistake or whether that is just been for time. And I think that one is just down to the fact that his tyres, I think, are just letting go.
Yeah, they're starting to drop off quite dramatically. It doesn't look like he made a mistake, based on what I've seen. So yeah, some big drop off there for Ben Horrell, and he's really going to start to struggle if it's that big of a pace differential.
It certainly looks like that is the case at this moment. So we are entering those final couple laps, just a couple places then, looking to try and be decided. Now Siemens can't do enough to catch Samuli Väyrynen late on in this one. Everyone just trying to nurse a car home, I do believe, at this stage. One of the battles that is out there is still Adam Webb versus Oisin Richards, and Webb's got a good run here. He'll go to the inside and he will pick up the place just about then through turn one. Richards leaving him a lot of room there on that outside. It's very tough when you race through there because it's very tough to see how far alongside a driver is with you into turn one.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to tell, and because of the fact that it tightens up a little bit on the way in as well, about mid-corner as well, you've got to be a little bit mindful that if you are on the outside, you're possibly going to end up running out of road as well, because of the fact that they're not going to really know where you are if you wash right out. So you're going to have to be very, very careful with the turn one passes, but certainly they will seem to make them work very, very well today. But Marquez closing that gap up rapidly to Tapio Marklo, who doesn't quite seem to have the pace compared to him. 2 tenths quicker in favour of Marquez last time by, so Marquez really pushing now to try and close that gap up and get onto the podium.
Yes, as well as that, Liam Buckley's made a mistake, a slide through Spoon. He has dropped a place now to Ray Griffey-Owen, but now is the key. Jorge Martinez put a 31-4 down on the board, and he is trying to make sure he is in range to attack Tapio Markala late on in this race. Questions will be now, can you find that move in the final 2 laps to put yourself on the podium? Martinez, remember, is pretty much in this fight with Matt Wood for the championship, as well as Matteo Ugolotti, who I think's put 8 weeks on the board and decided he doesn't want to put any more down. He's done his 8 weeks. But Martinez knows one thing better than anybody else right now. He has got to grind and get that place. He knows that Markler is quick, but he knows he is a savant when it comes to saving tyres.
Yes, certainly, and look at the gap that he's closed down and now as well, just through the Casio Triangle. He's going to have DRS this time down the front straight, so he's going to close it down even more, closing and closing and closing, but just not quite able to get close enough to get a move, but it's certainly incoming in. Bear in mind, Oliver is not too far up the road from these guys as well, so should something go awry, they might actually have a battle for second here.
Having a little look, and Matt Wood has done a 1:34. It's not the fastest lap of the race. He's 300 short of Adam Webb at this stage, but Martinez, this is the focus. 1.5 laps to go, there or thereabouts, through the 2 Degner right-handers here, where he's so aggressive off the exit of this corner to attack himself into the next section. Markler all the way out to the Armco barrier there under the bridge. He is using all of the road and anything he's got left to try and hold back Jorge Martinez.
Yeah, certainly he is. He's really got to get a bit of a move on here, but he can't with the fact that he just doesn't have the pace, so he's going to have to do his best to try and defend from Jorge Martinez, who's just pushing these soft tyres as hard as he possibly can with how fresh they are, but certainly he's going to do his best to hold off Martinez's Makla, but we'll have to wait and see. And with the fact that Martinez is going to have DRS, he's going to have a little bit of a tall order on the way into turn one, and now that he's really, really close, it really is going to be a bit of a struggle for him.
Well, we've seen him try and defend hard before. Number 5, Tapio Markler, the Finnish driver, against the Spaniard, Jorge Martinez. This is a great drive then from him. The last lap starts, and there will be some shades of Raikkonen and Fisichella with this move as he goes to the left-hand side. It was Raikkonen on the defence, and this time it's the role of Fisichella that wins out then in terms of Markler. But he's run too deep through turn 2, and straight through goes Jorge Martinez. He played the patience game, and it pays off with fruition. The podium falls away for Tapio Markala late on, and that will hurt. Ben Horrell under pressure now as well behind. This is Samuli Väyrynen, who is close up to the back of a truly struggling Ben Horrell out on circuit. Is this a move down to the inside into his turn number 1? You bet it is, and he will continue to consolidate that through the second part of the corner. Very well played in terms of that move. Nothing you can do if you're Ben Horrell. One more position falls by the wayside with that little overtake. In terms of other battles out on the track, there is one, Nielsen, Magal and John Pat Kelly, but they are too far back to see any moves change. But a 130R. He finds himself with just the Casio triangle remaining, and this for him is a race which now puts down to a perfect end game that he wants. Check off 2 of the 4 drop round weekends. He is now walking closer still to try and challenge as he wins the race here today at Suzuka. It will be Oliveira to hold on for second. Marquez will take third, and Markela on the outside looking in position number 4.
Yeah, Markle will be a little bit dirty with himself to make that mistake that he did on the way through turn 1 and get away a podium position and some crucial points as well. So, but at the end of the day, not too bad of a finish overall. And he tried his best, but just wasn't to be in the end. So he's going to have to come away with a P4 finish. But it's not over down the back end of the field as John-Pat Kelly is currently doing his best to try and find a way on by Kent Nielsen for the minor division.
Yeah, and of course that one's still going on. So is this going to be a case of changing? Oh my word.
Contact between the two, and that's not what Nielsen will have wanted at all.
That is a case of contact, yes, but that is just putting the power down. Oh, I've been hit, I need to go, right? So he gets the power down. Oh, I've got nothing left on the tyres. You go around, you hit the tyre wall, and that, you could probably say, is going to be that for Kent Nielsen as he will drive himself home. John-Pat Kelly, no obligation, of course, to let that position go back through. Of course, he did make the contact, did not initiate the spin, which is the big key in terms of that one, as those drivers all look to make progress to the start-finish line. So confirmation of results then will be coming up on your screen. Matt Wood wins then in 54 minutes and 4 seconds and does so by 10.1 over Diogo Oliveira in second place overall. It's third for Jorge Marquez. He took it on the last lap in through turn 2, with Tapio Markela finishing 4th and Cedric Beale rounding out the top 5. Luke Dowding on the medium compound tyre gets 6th place overall. Ultimately, the wrong strategy at the end of the day had cost him then the 5th place, with Samuli Väyrynen in 7th and Ben Horrell in 8th place. It got close towards the end over the line. Klaus Siemens picking up 9th place as Horrell's tyres drastically hit a cliff, maybe even punctured, as the top 10 finished off with Thomas Bartostic up 3 places.
You know, Club de Foley finishing where he started in P11, just outside the top 10, with Ray Griffion in 12th. Liam Buckley unfortunately falling down to 13th. And yeah, not too bad of a race with Swiderski coming home in 14th from 23rd on the grid. Nathaniel Porter will come home in the top 15 with Adam Webb in 16th. Ozzy Richards just outside the top 15 and 17th. 18th to Imran Miguel. John-Pat Kelly in 19th, and 20th goes to Kent Nielsen.
Yeah, so Kent Nielsen then rounding out the top 20. That's the last finisher as well on the leading lap. 1 lap down. David Tomas, Edu Villa, Tamas Shane, and Jan Stratinsky. And then 2 retirements today from this race. Alex Gillen and Reynaldo Augusto on the opening lap of the race. Well, that pretty much puts that into perspective. A wonderful race here at Suzuka. Matt Wood now starting to really challenge his way forward, trying to pick up result upon result upon result. But it's where we're going 1 week from now, which is going to be the big key, because we've got 2 weeks to go. But it's a street circuit then we head to next. It is Long Beach that we will go to for round 11. And Cam, Long Beach here. First time they'll be running it here. 26 cars at Long Beach. That has disaster written all over it if Belle Isle isn't enough of a challenge.
It certainly does have disaster written all over it, but I think we'll be all right. We've seen what they can do at Belle Isle, and if anything, there's probably a little bit more room and a few more passing opportunities at Long Beach as well. So who knows what's going to happen, but yeah, looking forward to and seeing what's going to come of it.
Well, a massive thanks, of course, has to go to those who get it done for us here today with SimSpeed TV. A massive thank you goes to the Virtual Racing School, who have been on the replays for us today, from Scott Fountain, who has been on the cameras. Fonty has been here with us, from Cam Dance alongside me and myself, Jake Sperry. Matt Wood puts 2 in 2, and he is desperately trying to claw his way back into any form of contention. He knows what he needs out of this. He needs to make sure that he is closing the gap as much as he can, but How much can he do that? He knows that his main rival doesn't actually hold a license to be able to race this series right now. He's on a B license compared to an A-class license race like this. So that puts everything into perspective. Now, can Matt Wood go and convert with Tapio Markala right there in the points as well? We'll see you next week at Belle Isle. But before you go, remember, tomorrow, it's Scott. Make sure you check that out as well.